I recently saw this skit on Funny or Die that was hilarious. The actor Jeremy Piven is having tea with his niece, and she tells him that his beard looks stupid. He explains to her that the beard is for the part of Mr. Selfridge, so he needs the beard. She continues to insist it's a stupid beard until she hits him over the head with the teapot. Jeremy Piven is knocked out, and when he comes to, she's coming at him with an electric razor, and he cries, "Continuity! Continuity!" I think it's hilarious. You might not. By the end of this 60-second writing tip, you still might not think it's hilarious, but you'll get it. Hi, I'm Alida your writing coach at Word Essential, and today's 60-second writing tip is all about continuity. You see, this is a mistake I see in manuscripts all the time, and it's an easy one to fix, but you do have to pay attention to your writing as you go through it. This is a great thing to really focus on when you go through revisions. What continuity means is that something changes unexpectedly during a scene, or things pop on or pop off of the page without being properly introduced. The way this works in film, something has changed between one shot and another, but within the same scene. If you've seen The Fantastic Mr. Fox and watched the special features on the DVD, you might have seen someone talk about how a scene would take more than one day to shoot. And there's a scene with a bunch of bottles, jugs, glass jugs of apple cider. Well, due to barometric pressure changes, when they came back to that set the next day, the levels of cider in the jars would be all over the place. So before they could begin shooting the scene again, they would have to level out the apple cider in each jug and make certain that level matched the day's level before, the day before's level. The level that was in the jugs the day before. Because if they didn't, what the viewer would see is continuity of action with the characters on the screen, but this thing in the setting, the levels of cider, would be going like this. It would look like they were dancing. What this looks like on the page is a scene in which the writer has introduced an element to the story, and then a few paragraphs or a few pages later, the time hasn't changed, the place hasn't changed, the characters haven't changed, but that element has just disappeared. It's dropped off of the page. Sometimes an element is introduced out of nowhere. So it creates a sense of discontinuity or being ungrounded in the scene for the reader. Now, an easy to see, definite example of lack of continuity is the sort of thing that we would expect to take time to change, like a wound healing. So if you give your character a black eye in chapter 3, make certain you mention the bruise, turning from purple to brown to yellow, growing smaller, the pain lessening, over the course of several chapters, or whatever works with your story's timeline. It doesn't work for a reader to introduce some sort of bodily trauma to your protagonist and then act as though it never happened, especially when that injury is going to affect the way the protagonist interacts with the rest of the world. If you get stabbed in the thigh, it's going to hurt to walk for a while, so show that character limping. If you have a big bruise on your face, you might feel self-conscious in public. So show the reader that and create a natural progression through the timeline of your story. And perhaps the greatest sin of continuity is what I call teleportation. It's when characters are nowhere on the stage of the page and then suddenly there they are, interacting as though they've been there the whole time, when what we need to see is an entrance or an exit, or they need to have been there from the very beginning. It's like characters are sitting in the shadows where nobody can see them or hear them or feel their presence until they're needed. And then suddenly here they are, serving dinner or playing cards or making a phone call. Well, it doesn't work. The reason it doesn't work is because your reader will notice these jumps and jump out of your story to wonder, where did that person come from? Where did his beard go? Wasn't she wearing a dress 2 paragraphs ago? Here's your 60-second writing tip. As long as your story is within a continuous flow of action within the same time frame and the same setting, you need to make certain that you've got a continuity of story elements from character to setting to wardrobe to action. It all has to make sense and flow logically from one paragraph to the next. And if you establish something major, like bodily injury, you need to deal with it over time the way we would expect it to happen in real life. If you don't maintain continuity, then your reader is going to jump out of the story to wonder, where did this guy come from? What happened to his limp? Wasn't she wearing a dress a paragraph ago? So, go through your story on revision with a sharp eye for continuity. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Alida, coming to you from the beautiful St. Croix State Park in Minnesota. Have a great writing day.